welcome to a special segment of Detroit in Black and White. Uh, we're going to start doing this, and we're going to start calling it Detroit Drop a Dime. You know, the old days when you know something and you got to get it off your chest and you got to help the community. You went to that payphone and you put a dime in there, and boom. And the first guest today is the chief of police of Detroit, former deputy mayor, a great community guy, Todd Bettison. How you doing, Chief?
I feel good, Adolph. How are you, sir?
I'm doing fine, man. I see you all over in the community, interacting with residents and stuff. And then, man, I see people under your command at the scenes of these horrific crimes, man, especially with these kids, man. How do we deal with these gunshot victims? 4 years old, playing on the playground, in the bed, sleep, in a car. It's just amazing that these shooters and most of them are kids themselves can care less about who they hurt.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I was raised by my grandparents, and my grandmother used to always say that a bullet doesn't have a name, and she did an excellent job with me. Because I wanted to be out. I wanted to. It was exciting. I wanted to go out and hang and things like that. And she worked at the Berrien County Juvenile Center, and so she got a chance to see a lot of the young men that were involved in gang violence, etc. And so, I thank God for having a strong disciplinary figure in my life. You got to have somebody that really loves you and that's going to be a parent and that's going to have that discipline. So I had uncles, I had folks that really poured into me. And where I'm going with that is oftentimes what we've seen recently is a lot of young people that were out past curfew hours, out in the wee hours of the night, and they either become the victim of violence, in particular gunshot, or they're the perpetrator. We actually ended up over the holiday weekend, 4th of July holiday weekend, locking up a 15-year-old who had shot a man in his 50s at a gas station. And we ended up locking up a 14-year-old that was out there setting multiple properties on fire. And then we've had other kids that were shot after the curfew. So one of the things that the mayor and I did was, you see oftentimes when it's a special event downtown, you'll see the chief or you'll see people from the police department say, hey, we need a special curfew for the fireworks for downtown. Well, we got a curfew across the whole city of Detroit. So under my leadership, I really up that as far as the enforcement when it comes to curfew, and not just holding the kids accountable, but holding the parents accountable, because it's parent responsibility. And with that, we are issuing more parental responsibility tickets to hold parents accountable for their kids, because like Adolph, back in the day, you had to be in the house when the street lights came on. Yeah. And it used to be the old saying. What was that old saying of the commercials and stuff? It's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your kids are?
No question about it. And we don't have that anymore. And it used to be, if you seen a kid during school hours, you ask the question, why are you not in school? We doesn't do that anymore. How can we mobilize the community? We did it with Devil's Night. And I remember in the 80s when there was schoolgirl rapes where it was a rash of them. And the late Mayor Coleman Young called everybody together, DTE, Mishcon, etc., and block clubs. And the bottom line was, people were driving around in company cars or with the lights on top of the cars, and and the police sent out their gang squad, and that went away. I'm not saying rapes didn't go away, but those kind of rapes disappeared, and people could walk to school. How do we do that with these guns? I know a cop can't be in your house every night, being a referee. So how do we minimize that?
We're doing it. And one of the things that I want to say about the city of Detroit, we're second to none when it comes to really stepping up when it comes to our young people. The amount of support and feedback that I've gotten from the community with the recent spike in whether it's the 2-year-old, 4-year-old, 6-year-old within a short period of time being shot, being injured by gunfire. The clergy, Darrell Woods, who's a vice chair of the Board of Police Commissioners, along with Teferi Brent, they actually hosted a big event downtown at Spirit Plaza where they called all the pastors out. And they're going with an initiative right now. And tomorrow at Church of the Messiah, Barry Randolph is having a event where it's going to connect pastors with schools so that these churches can really start adopting schools. Because when we're talking about young people, we got a lot of churches in the city of Detroit. We don't have as many schools as we used to, but if every church adopted a school and we really start bridging the gap when it comes to our school-age children, whether it's Detroit Public School Community District or a charter school, getting them connected, because what I see with young, our teenagers and even our middle school kids is they really don't have role models and they don't have a lot of hope and they have low self-esteem and they just don't see someone that they can look to. Jesse Jackson used to say back in the day, if you can see it, you can achieve it, but you got to believe it. Well, if you don't see it at all, you don't even know it exists to be able to aspire to it. So we have to get professional. We have to get individuals that are doing stuff positive to be connected with these families. And so that's one aspect of it. And then our community violence intervention groups. We got 6 of them inside the city of Detroit within their area. And I helped birth that program when I was in the mayor's office as deputy mayor, in concert with city council also, because they supported it and approved it with American Rescue Fund Act dollars. But we have areas over 12 square miles, the most violent areas based off of data in the city of Detroit. And these groups have proven effective at reducing gun violence and retaliation. And it's by really working to provide various resources, but also helping mediate disputes, because the majority of the shootings and the majority of the killings in the city of Detroit, it come from somebody feeling disrespected, somebody feeling shame. And as a result, it's the get back. And what happens with the payback of, I'll give you an example with the 5-year-old little Samir who lost his life. I said very early on that we were going to catch him, and absolutely we are going to catch him. Little Samir Grubbs was on the slide, coming down the slide where a stray bullet hit him. Well, that dispute all resulted from a dispute on a DDOT bus where somebody Pusheisty mask. I don't know if you know what a Pusheisty mask is, but that's the nickname that they call it. But one of the little ski masks that you see folks wear, the baklava mask that the young kids are wearing as a fashion statement, another group of kids snatched it off his head. He was with his girlfriend. He felt embarrassed, shame, and as a result, he ran or went around the corner to his friend's house, told them what happened. They all decided to get inside of a pickup truck SUV, going looking for the individuals, saw their target individuals at the park, and just opened fire on them and shot and killed an 18-year-old. A 17-year-old was injured, but one of the stray bullets went a little further downstream at the park and hit little Samir. And as a result, he lost his life. And with the 2-year-old that was shot, on the 4th. Well, it was actually the 5th of July. That was a situation where a 14-year-old, along with some other kids at a park after curfew, out there messing around, having access to firearms, fired multiple shots, and bullet goes over a half a block and hits the little 2-year-old. Thank God he's alive. And I'll tell you, Mongo, I take this stuff so serious. I actually made the hospital and was there with the mothers and the families. Daryl Woods was there with me as well. He's with the Board of Police Commissioners, but we take this stuff very, very seriously.
I know. Aren't you tired of that?
Yeah, I am. I am. I knew when I signed up for the job what I was signing up for, and I'm committed, and I'm not going to stop. But let me tell you this, Mongo, because when you in a battle, and let's just say we were in a boxing match, you know, the first 3, 4, 5 rounds go good, but when you're getting your butt kicked in round 6, right, you forget about the other rounds. But overall, you can still be winning the fight, but it don't feel good. And so I just want to let you know, brother, that right now we got a long way to go in the city of Detroit when it comes to violence, because we're still too violent. But year after year, our crime is trending down. And so last year we finished year 24 with historic low crime numbers. And as of today, I'm looking at my numbers right here, you know, and I can provide it for you. You know, I'm looking at my crime stats right here, and I'll tell you, in homicides, we're down 14%. You know, we got 19 fewer people killed this year compared to last year this time. In the category of non-fatal shootings, and that's a shooting where somebody got shot, hit by a bullet, and didn't die, that's down 26%. That's 108 fewer people shot this year, the same day this time compared to last year. And in every violent crime category is down. Our sexual assaults, rapes down 21%. Our carjackings are down 27%. And so I remember when it used to be Carjack City, but we implemented things like green light, and I'm going to give Chief Craig a whole lot of credit. That was one of the things that when he got here as chief of police, he said, hey, yeah, man, this Carjack City, like we're going to come up with something called green light and implement cameras with our private businesses with a real-time crime center throughout the whole city of Detroit. And as a result, we did that and targeted businesses that stayed open late at night and put the video cameras up and let the video pump into our real-time crime center. That really curtailed a lot, you know, carjackings in the city of Detroit, and it's helped with violent crime across the board. But with community violence intervention, with technology, with license plate readers, and with hiring police officers. I just left a graduation today, Adolph. I just graduated another 21 police officers out the Detroit Police Academy. I'm basically at a 98, 99% field rate. What that means is I'm almost at full budgeted strength. I get anywhere from 12 officers that retire every month. And so we're in a continuous hiring mode. But the thing about it is, because of the mayor, because of city council, because of where we are right now, and they recently upped the salaries by over $10,000 for Detroit police officers, I'm able to hire, but I'm not losing them going to the suburbs and other places like I'm used to. So it's an and approach. It's hiring officers, it's utilizing technology, and it's investing in the community. I believe that's going to be the winning formula that ultimately continues to push crime down in the city.
So, and you know, there's a push in DC to have federal oversight of police departments in these urban cities and stuff. Do Detroit need federal help like that? Intervention, or what you say, need more police officers?
No. We like it the way it is right now. And so we have a great partnership with the U.S. Attorney, and we've always worked very closely with the FBI, the ATF, the DEA. It's worked fine. I have officers embedded in their task force, and what we need help from, and they're already providing that, is when it comes to RICOs, indictments, federal prosecutions. So
you don't need no National Guard coming down from Camp Grayland or somewhere saying that we're going to patrol the streets of Detroit.
Nope. I got the best police department. The men and women of the Detroit Police Department do an excellent job at that. We're experts at that. We know this community. We have the complete trust of the community. And so as it's going right now, We have a great relationship when it comes with the U.S. Attorney's Office, and it's working just fine. And we don't see any need for it to change.
What about publicizing those criminals that y'all looking for? I think with people talking about, I don't want to be a snitch. We talking about public service. We talking about there's a maniac in your midst. So if people know who they are, they hide them out, and you put out a reward and stuff, and they still won't say anything until something happened to them or their family. Then they upset. How can we publicize this weekly or so? Because we can do that. Put their picture on the screen and say, "Have you seen this person?"
I love that, Adolph, and I have a new media director over here. Her name is Jasmine Barmore, and so she's excellent. I was able to convince her to come from Channel 7 to come work for me, and so we were having this very conversation about doing just that, getting it out there. And Detroiters, I will tell you, with the video assets that we have, and when things happen, when you put the information out and they can see the face, they start dropping that dime. I'll give you an example. The fireworks shooting that we had. We were able to get his picture off the cameras ASAP, and I pushed it out that very night. Adolph, let me tell you, when they saw his picture, the community instantly responded and started calling in with the tips in his name. I knew exactly who he was within the next day. And so oftentimes when you see me on television and I say, we know who you are, here's the picture, the community actually told me who they were. They actually sent me the guy's cell phone number and say, "Chief, this is who did it. Here's a cell phone." I had the fireworks shooter cell phone number the next day, man. They was like, "Chief, you can call him if you want to." I say, "Nah, I ain't gonna call him." I say, "But my detectives and homicide folks will deal with him. They'll get with him." And so we were able to bring him into custody as well. And our closure rate, I will tell you this, we're basically catching everybody. Our closure rate is high for our homicides and our non-fatal shootings. But the sad and tragic part about it is I can't put Humpty Dumpty back together again. And so when a person is shot or injured, the only thing I can do to bring the family justice is to be able to do my part as law enforcement, and sometimes try to be able to connect them with some Crime Victims Act funding or things like that, or some additional services. But I do my part, and with the men and women of DPD, just ensuring that we try to not only just apprehend individuals, because I can't police my way out of it, but also to be able to bring resources and services by connecting them to other city resources.
What about cold cases?
Cold cases.
There's folks, and our great friend, the late Brenda Hill, spent years trying to find out who killed her son and his friend after they was trying to go home one night, and she went to her grave and not knowing. She was relentless. Do you have a unit that look into those kind of cases?
Yes, we do. We absolutely do. And matter of fact, it's a high priority for me. And I'm always looking to add additional resources and manpower to it. And through a collaborative effort, just had a conversation with the Wayne County prosecutor yesterday about cold cases. And so it's a priority for Wayne County prosecutor Kim Worthy. It's a priority for me as well. And so we never close a case. And I have officers that are in the homicide unit. That's all that they work on is cold cases. I think that one of the things that we have to do a better job of, and I was on my team about it, is that when we close a cold case, we need to be able to put that up on a flag and let everybody know, so that it gives the families hope that, if it happened for them, it could happen for me. Because, we do have a lot of outstanding cold cases out there, and we have our members still working on them. And so that's a work in progress, but we will continue, Mongo, and continuously work those cases and support the families. We even have a unit now that former Chief of Police, Chief James White, established within the DPD. Is called our family unit. And so the family unit actually works in conjunction with our cold case squad, and they keep track of ensuring that, at least once every 6 months, et cetera, that the family members of cold cases are getting a telephone call as far as an update. And what I'll say for this, oftentimes family members will say, well, I haven't heard anything, or, nobody called me. It's important to make sure that we got the right point of contact, because our officers, they can't call everybody in the family, but we'll call the point of contact to be able to give them updates of who they want to be designated when it comes to cold cases.
And I'm amazed that sometimes there's an unidentified body found and they can't identify it for years. It goes unidentified. And come to find out, when they do, officials are able to identify the person, that the family never filed a missing person report. And, this like, oh, I just thought this person just walked away, except I just don't understand it.
Yep, we see a lot. We definitely see a lot, and yeah, those can be some tragic cases when people are so disconnected. But with technology, and I keep saying technology, when it comes to genealogy and advances within it, and even DNA, it still gives us an opportunity to be able to go back and close cases and link cases that, but for advances in technology, we would not be able to solve. And so, we're one of the best and we're just going to continue to work at it. And what allows us to get better too is the fact that we're able to hire more officers and retain that talent. Because at one point, it had got pretty bad with the DPD when we were losing so many officers. You remember that when they were talking about, how many officers we had lost going to other departments.
Yeah, you was training them to go and work for folks across 8 Mile and downriver and whatever. As we close, what do you want to tell the people in the city that what the Detroit Police Department is doing? Because I saw a video online where a young guy, he said, "Don't mess with the Detroit police." He said they're not playing, and he said, "You know what? And they not the type of department you play with. They're not going around shooting people or beating up folks, but if you go at them, they're gonna kick your ass." And he was talking about the concert, Chris Brown concert. He said there was some scuffles and whatever was happening, and he said the police wasn't playing around. How do you stop that kind of mess when you get thousands of people going to a rap concert or a rock concert?
Well, I will say this: the majority, 98% of all of it works out just fine. Adolph, you only hear about that 2 to 1% where something, occurs. And so the city of Detroit is the entertainment capital of Michigan. The LCA, Little Caesars Arena, is, if not the busiest arena in the country, because you got the Pistons, you got the Red Wings, and you have all the concerts that are playing there. And so this was a particular Chris Brown concert. And when sometimes you get folks that had a little bit too much to drink, and this was way after the concert, actually, where you had a couple individuals decided to fight, and other folks, rather than break it up, they wanted to record it on social media and egg them on. And our Detroit police officers, doing what they do, they came by to break it up. And then a couple of the people swung on our officers, hit my officer in the head. And unlike most departments, some of these other departments resort to firearms, because we see what happened in some departments, but our officers resorted to the hands. It's called hard hand. That's the technical term for it when an officer throws a punch. That's a hard hand technique. And my officer was injured too. I want to let the public know that my officer was injured in it, but we were able to arrest the individuals, get everything resolved without anybody being seriously hurt. And our Detroit police officers are here to do a job. They will not be disrespected, and they're going to enforce the law. That's flat out. And so I make no apologies for that right there. You know,
the guy was giving you the kudos. He said y'all wasn't playing around, and y'all came and y'all stopped all the BS that was going. And so you get the last word. What do we expect next 6 months from the department?
And we have to do more, and we're going to continue to do more. And so you're going to hear me use the word AND, because crime is not one thing that causes crime. And so it's not one silver bullet that's just going to fix all crime. And so it has to be the continuous collaboration with our local, our state, our federal partners, which I'm going to do, which we've always been doing. More investment in technology, more investment in community, and working closer with Detroit Public Schools Community District and working with our various charter schools as well, because our kids are our priority. And because I was deputy mayor, working with the new administration, regardless of who that is, to make sure that we have additional activities for our kids to do. Because my grandmother used to always say this as well. I was raised by my grandmother, Mongo, that idle mind is a devil's workshop. And so we have to inspire our young people, and we have to get people back to work. We have to give them something to do. And so you can have the carrot when it comes to disciplinary, but you also have to have the carrot too. I kind of mixed that up a little bit, but you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Ain't no question. I had a grandfather who says if you don't work, you steal. So you need to go get a job and or education or whatever you're gonna do, because they didn't believe in doing all that crazy mess. Hey, thanks, Chief Todd Bettison. We missed you coming on Detroit Black and White at the end of every month, man. Got to come back.
I'm gonna get back to it.
There's no question. Well, you take care, and thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule to shoot the breeze with us.
All righty, sir. Take care.
Thank you.
All right.